So now the truth is out. Two of the superstars of economics, Carmen Reinhart and Kenneth Rogoff, who wrote the book This Time It's Different, have committed massively serious errors in their work. You know, that work that tries to exploit all these debt fears. However, three professors from the University of Massachusetts at Amherst, Michael Ash, Robert Pollin, and Thomas Herndon, found these errors when they were trying to replicate the Reinhart-Rogoff results. And the errors were so blatant and so egregious that one has to consider whether or not they were intentionally put there to bolster their push for austerity policies. And make no mistake about it, folks, the Reinhart-Rogoff studies were used over and over and over again as the main arguments for austerity. You even had that little boy who read that one book, you know, Atlas Shrugged. What's his name again? Paul Ryan. Well, he used it to defend his safety net gutting plan. And guess what? Austerity has done nothing to reduce debt or risk of default, but at the same time, it has forced millions upon millions of people into the condition of unemployment and poverty. In fact, it's created an entire new generation of poverty that will be the real heritage that we're going to end up leaving to our kids. Now, in the past, I've spoken about the work of Reinhart and Rogoff. I've gone after their ignorant and subversive attempts to prove all of their debt doomsday crap. But let's leave aside for a minute their analytical errors and the shoddy research that I'm going to talk about. Their real error was not understanding sovereign debt in the first place. From the very beginning, these two couldn't see the distinction between currency issuing nations and nations that don't issue their own currency. That's why in their book, which supposedly examines 800 years of history, there is not one single example of a country in there that had a free-floating, non-convertible currency that experienced a debt crisis or a default. Not one. From the very start, these two were clueless as to that difference. They simply didn't know what they were talking about. But now they've been caught red-handed in a blatant attempt at manipulation because in doing their research, we see things like they left out countries whose performance would have completely altered the outcome to a positive result rather than a negative one. And furthermore, they left out years that would have done the same thing, or they selectively included certain years so as to produce that damning debt perspective that they were after. And in an almost laughably amateurish example of how careless and shoddy their research was, they made coding errors in an Excel spreadsheet, in effect, not copying formulas to a range of cells, maybe intentionally, who knows? Even though they claim it was an error, these two have doctorates in economics. Come on, for God's sakes. This is something even an undergraduate economics student wouldn't have done. The fact is that the three professors who caught these charlatans, and let's call it what they are, they're charlatans. Well, the three good guys, they found that the only way to achieve Reinhart and Rogoff's results were by manipulating the data in such a way as to shred any degree of consistency in their analytical technique. It was like, well, we want the study to show this, so how do we manipulate the data to make that happen? We'll just use these numbers. We'll just use these countries. But when the three professors did it the right way, that is, when they took Reinhart and Rogoff's data and they analyzed it straight, right through without manipulation and without leaving things out and with proper weightings and using all the countries and all the years, etc., they found the exact opposite result occurred, that the countries with high debt didn't show any tendency towards slower growth. In fact, overall, in the entire sample and over the entire period, growth was positive compared to Reinhart and Rogoff's fake, conjured up, manipulated result. But here's the worst part of it. This subversive, fake, lying piece of garbage has been responsible for millions and millions and millions of people being unemployed. And when they were caught red-handed, with their hand in the cookie jar, what did they say? Nothing. They just basically blew it off and said that the Herndon, Ash, and Pollen work was pretty much the same thing as what they were saying, which is pure bullshit. As for the Excel error, Reinhart and Rogoff said, "Hey guys, thanks for picking that up. We'll be more careful next time." What? Are you kidding me? These arrogant scum. Folks, if you haven't understood something by now, this should make it as clear as day that mainstream economics is totally, totally corrupt. It is bought and paid for by Wall Street and the powers that be. They want austerity. They want you out of work. They want governments to believe they are powerless unless they follow their advice. Why? Because it's more power and wealth for them. That's why. You, me, our kids, we don't stand a chance. They're coming to take it all, and they'll use every form of lie, manipulation, deceit, blackmail, distortion, or even force, yes, force, to get it. These guys are nothing more than the lowest form of thieves, pirates, and criminals, and they are after everything that you have. And don't think Obama or Romney or anyone else in mainstream of politics or academics is going to save you. It's time, people. Time to break out. The first place we can fight back on this is to stop letting them control our minds. We still have control over what we think and what we believe. And only if we start from there do we have a chance. Anyway, that's it for today. This is Mike Norman saying, see you next time. Bye-bye.